Meaning of True Love, Part 2, Crossroads in the Rain. The following week, the skies over the city turned gray, and the gentle drizzle of rain seemed to cast a calm over the bustling streets. Emma walked down the familiar path that led to the park where she and Jack had their conversation just days ago. The rain tapped lightly against her umbrella as she approached the park's entrance, where she had agreed to meet him again. The last conversation had left her with much to think about, and she was eager to continue exploring the ideas they had shared. As she neared the park bench where they often sat, she spotted Jack, waiting under a large oak tree, his hands shoved into his coat pockets, his hair slightly damp from the rain.
You really don't mind the rain, do you?
No, I actually like it. It's peaceful. And besides, rain always makes for the best conversations, don't you think?
You've got a point. So, are we continuing our discussion on love today, or did you have something else in mind?
Actually, I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about, especially about trust. I wanted to dig deeper into that. How do you think trust is built in a relationship, and what do you think breaks it?
Trust is built over time. I think it comes from consistency, being there for someone, day in and day out. And it's not just about the big moments, but the little ones too. But trust is fragile. Once it's broken, it's hard to fix. What about you? What do you think shatters trust the most?
Lies, even small ones. I think when someone lies, it breaks the bond. It makes you question everything else they've ever said. Once that doubt creeps in, it's hard to shake it. Have you ever had your trust broken?
Yeah, I have. It wasn't about a big betrayal. It was more like a series of little things. Promises that weren't kept. Words that didn't mean anything. After a while, I couldn't trust anything they said. It's exhausting, trying to rebuild after that. Do you think trust can ever fully be restored once it's broken?
Question: Jack, when trust is broken, do you believe it can be rebuilt? A. Yes, with enough time and effort. B. No, once it's broken, it's gone forever. C. It depends on the situation.
Answer: C. It depends on the situation. I think it depends on the situation. Option C. If both people are committed to rebuilding and there's genuine remorse, it can be restored. But if the betrayal was too deep, sometimes it's impossible to go back to how things were.
I think you're right. Sometimes, no matter how much you try, the damage is just too much. It's hard to keep pretending everything's okay when the trust isn't there anymore.
They continued walking through the park, their steps slow and deliberate. The rain had lightened to a soft mist, giving the world around them a dreamlike quality. Jack paused for a moment, watching a few children splashing through puddles, their laughter echoing across the park.
I've been thinking about something else too. Vulnerability. We talked about it last time, but I didn't really get to say everything I wanted to. Do you think you've ever been truly vulnerable with someone?
I'm not sure. I've shared parts of myself, sure. But there's always this fear that if I show too much, they'll walk away. It's hard to be vulnerable when you've been hurt before. What about you? Do you think you've ever let your guard down completely?
I don't think so. I've always been good at keeping up walls, even in relationships. It's easier to be the one in control, to not let anyone see the parts of me that are messy or broken. But I think, if I ever want something real, I need to change that. What do you think makes it so hard to be vulnerable? Question. What's the biggest obstacle to being vulnerable in love? A. Fear of rejection. B. Fear of losing control. C. Fear of getting hurt.
Answer C. Fear of getting hurt. I think the biggest obstacle is the fear of getting hurt. Option C. When you open up to someone, you're giving them the power to hurt you. And when you've been hurt before, it's hard to believe that someone won't do it again.
Yeah, I get that. It's like you're putting your heart in someone else's hands and trusting them not to break it. But without that risk, there's no real love, is there?
No, there isn't. Love is always a risk, but I guess that's what makes it so worth it when it's real. It's scary, but it's also beautiful.
They continued walking in silence for a while, the sound of the rain softening around them. The park was almost empty now, with only a few people lingering, tucked under their umbrellas or huddled on benches. Jack and Emma found themselves at a crossroads in the path, where one way led back towards the city and the other deeper into the park.
Do you think love is like this? A series of choices, each one leading us down a different path? And once we make a choice, there's no going back.
I guess you could see it that way. Love is definitely about choices, but I don't think it's as final as you're making it sound. Sometimes we take a path and it doesn't work out, but we can always find our way back to something better. Do you believe love is something we find or something we choose? Question. Jack, do you think love is about finding the right person or choosing to love someone despite their flaws? A. It's about finding the right person. B. It's about choosing to love someone, flaws and all. C. It's a combination of both.
Answer. B. It's about choosing to love someone, flaws and all. I think it's about choosing to love someone, flaws and all, option B. No one's perfect, and if you're waiting to find someone who is, you'll be waiting forever. Real love is about seeing someone's imperfections and still choosing to be with them.
I think that's exactly right. Love isn't about perfection, it's about commitment. It's about making the choice to be there, even when things aren't perfect.
They stood at the crossroads for a moment longer, the quiet between them filled with understanding. The rain had nearly stopped now, leaving the air fresh and cool.
You know, Emma, I think these conversations we've been having, they're changing the way I see things. About love, about relationships. It's like I've been waiting for something perfect, but now I realize it's about choosing to grow with someone, even when things are messy.
Yeah, I feel the same. These talks have made me realize that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. One you have to make every day.
So, which path do we take?
How about we take the longer one? I'm not quite ready to end this conversation yet.
Me neither.
They turned together and walked down the longer path, the world around them quiet and peaceful, yet full of the unspoken possibilities that lay ahead. As they continued down the winding path, Jack and Emma felt the weight of their shared thoughts, knowing that love, like life, was about the choices they made and the people they chose to walk beside. 5 words and phrases related to the theme of meaning of true love. Part 2. Crossroads in the rain.
Vulnerability. The act of opening yourself up to someone, knowing they have the power to hurt you. Betrayal. The breaking of trust, often through lies or unkept promises.
Commitment, the decision to stay with someone even when things aren't perfect. Rebuilding, the process of restoring trust after it's been broken.
Choice. The conscious decision to love someone despite their flaws.